Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock. It's Monday. It's time for 5x5, which is rapidly becoming one of the most popular videos of the whole week on this channel. If you don't know the concept, the idea is simple. I'm going to be talking about 5 completely different things, and I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to talk about each topic. There'll be a timer at the bottom. When the timer hits 0, we move on to the next topic. Now today, there's a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about, and I am joined with a special guest who's going to be helping me talk about something that has been requested over and over again that I talk about on this channel, and that's performing at weddings and specifically wedding fairs. That's going to be really interesting. Let's get straight on with the first section. So one of my favourite magicians is David Regal. He has been creating and performing and releasing magic tricks for as long back as I can remember. And in episode 1 of 5x5, I talked about my 3 favourite Richard Sanders tricks. What I'm going to do now is talk about my 3 favourite David Regal tricks. Now, I'm not going to be talking about David Regal's books because this is a guy that has written so many massive books through the years. His latest book, Interpreting Magic, is huge, as is every other book he's written, and there are literally thousands of tricks in those books. What I am probably going to do at some point is revisit this and talk about my 3 favourite David Regal routines from books. But today I'm going to be talking about standalone tricks that you can buy from a magic shop. Now, a couple of honourable mentions. I'm going to give a couple of honourable mentions before I give you the top 3. You have to talk about the Clarity Box. The Clarity Box was the very first of its type that allowed you to do a mystery box in a see-through box. So it allowed you to have a see-through box on display the whole time, have a card folded up inside the box, they can see it, and when you tip it out, it's their card. Lots of other versions have come out since then. Some are nowhere near as good. Some are maybe a little bit better depending on how you look at things, but the Clarity Box was, and still is today, an amazing way to accomplish this trick. So I have to give a big shout out to the Clarity Box. Also, the Regal ring chain. I remember reviewing this on the Wizard Product Review years ago. The Regal ring chain is just amazing. For the finale of a ring and string routine, being able to have that ring disappear and appear on the chain that's been around your neck the whole time, it is so good. So there's a couple of honourable mentions for you, but I want to go into the top 3 now. So in third place is Translocations. Now, this is an older David Regal item. I went to have a look on his website and I couldn't see it. Now, you might be able to find it somewhere. Hopefully one day maybe David will re-release it, but this is one of the best coin routines you'll ever see. It's based on John Kennedy's Translocation trick, which is where you have like $4 half dollars on the table and you rub your hands and they move to the other side of the table one at a time. Translocations is David's version of that, and it uses 3 different coins. It uses a copper coin, a silver coin, and a brass coin, and it is so magical. The first time I saw that, I was blown away. And I was like, I have to get this. And I got it, and I've been doing it ever since. It's actually been something that I've been doing in a lot of my Zoom shows. I have the camera straight down on the thing, and it looks brilliant. It is such a great coin routine. It's very commercial as well. So in third place, you have Translocations. If you can try and find it, do so. It came with a gimmick set of coins, really good. In second place, I'm going to say There and Back. Now, this is the first thing that put David Regal on my radar. And I remember the first time I saw this, it was on Paul Daniels performed this on his Secret show. Now, Paul Daniels' Secrets was in that fake nightclub, and it was after the actual Paul Daniels show. That got cancelled, and then he came up with this other series called Secrets, and it had more of a close-up vibe to it. And I remember him standing behind a bar, and he did this thing where he had a coin with Houdini on it. He put it under one glass, he put another glass over on the other side of the mat, and the coin just disappeared. And I knew a lot about magic at that point, and I was so fooled. I've never been so fooled in my life. And I spent ages trying to figure out how this happened, and I couldn't get anywhere. This is before the internet really kicked off, and I eventually found out it was David Regal's There and Back. I bought it, and I've been using it ever since. And you know what? This is something that I do in a lot of parlor shows. It's not really great for walk around magic or for table magic, but for the right time, right place, it's kills. I've been doing it in my virtual shows as well. You literally have a coin. Can be a signed coin. You put it on the table, you cover it up with a glass. You put another glass over there, it disappears from under the one glass and it goes under the other glass. It's amazing. Look it up. There and Back by David Regal. And then the number one routine that number one David Regal item, in my opinion, is All Alone. All Alone is brilliant. I do it at every gig. It is an invisible deck on steroids. Imagine being able to do the invisible deck, and you do the invisible deck routine. So one card turns over and it's their card. And then, as a kicker, you show all the cards are blank. Now, he released All Alone, and then he released an updated version with Card Shark that makes it even better. Because the original version, you need to do a little bit of equivoke, or you needed to have 2 decks. With the new version, you don't at all. Any card is named, it's the only card turned over in the deck, and the rest of the deck is blank. It is one of the most commercial card routines you've ever buy. I've done it on Magic Live, and every single time I gig, I take All Alone with me. If you haven't got it, look it up. All Alone by David Regal. Absolutely amazing. Right, let's talk about weddings. Specifically, let's talk about wedding fairs. A lot of magicians, when they decide they want to actually start doing magic, they think that the first thing that they should do is go to wedding fairs. But there is a right way and a wrong way to do wedding fairs. And if you do it wrong, you can literally throw hundreds of pounds down the drain. So I asked Owen Strickland, who is one of the busiest wedding magicians in the UK, an amazing guy, and absolutely smashes wedding fairs every single time he goes. I asked him to come on the channel and speak to us about what you need to do to make sure that your next wedding fair is super successful. So here is the amazing Owen Strickland, wedding expert extraordinaire. Yeah, we're talking to you. Okay. So the question I've got for you in 4 minutes, tell us how a magician can make wedding fairs successful for them. Because you do more than anyone that I know.
I do a few. To get it in 4 minutes is difficult. Firstly, you've got to choose the right wedding fairs to do, because everyone's doing a wedding fair these days. There's companies setting up doing them, venues are doing them. Find out the wedding venue or the company that will work for you. I only actually use now a couple of companies. I tend to do wedding venues, own wedding fairs. And the reason for that is they've got that level of care. They want it to be busy. There's a lot of companies out there now, won't name them, who just want 100 exhibitors at £50 a table, because that's £5 for them. That's not what you want. So find out who the good wedding companies are and who the good wedding venues are. When you're there, it's really simple. You've got a couple of minutes where you've got to make sure that those people are going to book you for your wedding. Now, I wish it was as easy as everyone that comes to you books. It's not that simple. You've got to find out who has got a wedding date booked, because if people come along and they say, well, we haven't got a date yet, they're not going to be able to book you on the day because they haven't even got a date yet. So you need to filter these people quite quickly, and I've got a few ways that I do that I'll explain in my longer chat with you. First impression, as the old saying goes, you've only got one chance to give someone a first impression.
I've been to wedding fairs in the past where people are just sat behind their table and they just don't move.
It's the worst thing. And I've been next to cake makers or whoever, or stationers, and they sit behind that table with a big barrier in front of them, and they'll sit on their phone all day, and then at the end of it they go, oh, it's rubbish, didn't get a single booking. And you're like, really? You've got to be personable, but your stand's got to look good. Does your stand make it look like you do what you do? Does it have good imagery? It's all about imagery for magicians, I believe, and this is just my opinion. But I want people to look at that and go, oh, doesn't he do a lot of weddings? And look at that and look at that. Reaction shots everywhere. I have 2 iPads, one with my show reel playing, and at the venues that I do regularly, the other one will have a slideshow of me just doing weddings at that venue. And you can say to people, that's all me doing weddings at this venue. I have photo albums, and I'll mention a tip that I use for those that they can peruse through. I've got my brochure. So when they come up to you, you've got to get their attention, and you will find a lot of people walk past and go, oh no, we don't want a magician. That's fine. People genuinely believe that. You've got to get something that catches their eye. It might be a firewall. It could be anything. I've got my own way. Once you've got them, then do a trick. And I've heard people say do a quick trick. Yeah, I do my absolute best trick. Because if I want someone to give me £700 to come to their most special day of their life, why on earth would I do my 17th best quick trick? They're going to get my best trick. They won't see it on the day anyway, because they've already seen it. I do stuff for bride and grooms on the day that other people don't get. You've got to impress them. Do magic that's, yes, a quick start. Once they're engaged, you can carry on and carry on. Then you hit them with your info. Then you hit them with, I genuinely do 70 weddings a year that If you don't book today, if it's next summer, you might miss out. I email them there and then, my online brochure, which I'm happy to share with anyone. It's a free one that I made on a website, which I'm happy to talk about. I hit them every which way with imagery and videos. I have 20 or 30 show reels that they can link to in the email. Wherever they look with me, all they see is me at weddings, and that's what I hit them with. And then with the backup with that, you can say, I genuinely am doing 70 a year. If you don't book me today, that's fine. But we'll speak about it again on my longer interview with you. And
so here's a quick question for you, because we've got 20 seconds left, and you are doing a longer interview. But quick question: what trick do you do? What's your 1,000 timer that you do at a wedding to get people's attention at a wedding fair?
that, Craig, we will talk about in my longer interview.
I love that. What a tease. Owen, you're absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. Now, regular viewers will know I'm a massive fan of books. I really am. And I wanted to talk about one of my favourite books that's come out in the last couple of years. The Bloomberg Laboratories by Thomas Bloomberg, written by Andy Gladwin. It's a vanishing ink book. It's amazing quality. It really is. I've done a few of these routines on Magic Lives in the past. I love this book. If I was going to give you a very quick review, it'd be very simply 100% buy it. Seriously, if you don't have many books in your collection, or you're looking for a good book that you don't already own, this is great. It's hardback. There's so much wonderful material in there, and Thomas Bloomberg comes up with some really creative stuff. What I want to do is perform one of the routines out of the book for you, and then we'll wrap this whole review off. So I've got Sarah behind the camera who's going to help me. You excited, Sarah?
Yeah.
I'm going to take two cards out the deck and put them underneath the box. We'll put those over there. That's going to be come important later on. And I'm going to take another two cards out. Now, those two cards are going to be mystery cards. You don't know what they are. But these two cards, you know exactly what they are. I have the two red kings, the King of Hearts and the King of Diamonds, okay? Now, you're going to pick a card. Just say stop.
Stop.
There. That's your card. Can you have a look at it? Remember it? I'm not going to look at it.
Yep, got it.
Now, normally we'd get this signed, but we don't really have much time, let's be honest. So I'm just going to just pretend that this card has been signed, all right? I'm going to leave the card about halfway down. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to cut the deck, and I'm going to put the two kings right here, King of Hearts, King of Diamonds. They go down in the middle. Now, if Sarah's hands were free, she would actually do this herself. She would do everything herself. She'd cut the deck. She'd put the cards back in position. Now, when I snap my fingers, what happens is now there's one card, and one card only right there in between the kings. One card only in between the red kings, and that card is your was your card the three of clubs there?
Yeah.
Isn't that pretty good? That's pretty good,
Yeah.
right? Now I'm going to do what you shouldn't do. I'm going to repeat the trick. So I'm going to put your three right there down into the middle of the deck again. Is that fair?
Yeah.
That's fair? Good. Now watch carefully. Do you remember I put these two mystery cards down underneath the box from the very beginning? Do you remember that? Let me show you what they are. You've actually got the two black kings right here. The King of Clubs and the King of Spades. Now, these two black kings are very important, and you'll see why. I'm going to put them here, and I want you to remember they're underneath the card box. They're going to become important in 1 second, all right? So what I'm going to do, you would then cut the deck yourself. We'd take the two red kings, and we put them right there. And I told you I was going to repeat the trick. But the thing is, when you do magic, every time you do it, it has to be more impressive. So this time, I'm going to snap my fingers, and what we have now is we have two cards in between the kings. Do you know why we have two cards in between the kings?
No.
There is a reason. The reason is these two cards are actually the black kings that were underneath the box, which means if the black kings are over there, there's now only one card, and that would be your three of clubs, which would be a signed card. So that is out of the book. That's one of the amazing card routines out there. That uses something that Tomas calls the Interlock Principle. He's got this this principle called the Interlock Principle that he applies to a lot of different plots. For me, that's one of my favourite sandwich routines to perform. I love that kickback element, and it's so well routined. It really is. He's got so much work. It's probably 80% card magic. There's some stuff with coins and money. There's bar bets and scams. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. But the thing about this book, there's some books in magic that are really hard to read, and you read them and it's really difficult to get through because it's written in a very boring style, and the magic, although you know it's going to be good, it's very uninspiring. I can't tell you the amount of times I've fallen asleep reading magic books. Now with the Bloomberg Laboratories, that is not the case. This is a really cool book. Every single time you open to the next page, there's something else that will just blow your mind, and you read the effects and you're like, I don't even know know how this is possible. And then you read the methods, and a lot of the time the methods are completely different to anything that you've seen before. Now, obviously, I'm a professional magician, but I love magic. I love practicing magic. And if I wasn't a professional, I'd be doing it as a hobby. And I'm telling you right now, for somebody who loves magic, this is one of the best magic books that you can get. I'm telling you right now, I'm giving it 100%. This is a book that I've had for a while, but I keep going back and reading again and again. And you know what? Every single time I read this book, I find something completely different out of it. And like I say, I've been putting routines out of this book on the Magic Lives over the last few months, which are at 6 o'clock, as you know, on the channel. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it. If you want to get better at magic, card magic especially, this is a book that you want to buy. It gets 100% from me. It is highly recommended. You can get it from Vanishing Ink. It's available through Vanishing Ink and maybe other dealers as well. So last week on 5x5, I shared a little tip with an iPhone that allowed you to be able to do a really kind of unique presentation with a witch hand routine. And I've had some great feedback about that, so thank you very much. I want to share another tip with you now. This is something that I've been doing for years, and I've never seen anyone else talk about it. I've never seen anyone else do it. Obviously, you know what it's like in magic, in that there's nothing original nor unique. I never planned on publishing this or sharing this, but I just thought you guys might get a kick out of the idea. As I say, if you've seen it before, let me know. I honestly can't believe that no one else is doing this, but I've shown it to a lot of magicians. No one's seen it before, and it's just a really unique way. Imagine if I told you that you could tell the spectators that you're performing for the last 4 digits of their debit card without them getting it out of their pocket, without them writing it down, without any of that. You can tell them the last 4 digits of their debit card. How impressive would that be? Well, that's what this allows you to do. And it's a little thing with the iPhone that really works well. So let me explain here. Many years ago, Apple Pay was set up. So Apple iPhones were able to do Apple Pay. Now, initially when it first came out, it wasn't very popular. Over the last few years, it's gained in popularity. Now, because of COVID, it's really popular. Because everybody now doesn't really want to handle cash, I see pretty much everybody at the supermarket using Apple Pay. But even before COVID, I was using this all the time. When you've got Apple Pay on, for those of you that don't know, to activate Apple Pay, right, you just have to double tap the right-hand side of the screen. You just have to double tap. So on the right-hand side of the phone, there's a button there. You double tap that, and that opens up Apple Pay like that. Okay, so and then what you get is you have to look at it or put your passcode in, then you wave it over, and you can pay with it. We all know what Apple Pay is, right? On an older phone, by the way, if you've got a phone with a home button, to access Apple Pay, you double tap the home button. Doesn't really matter. Here's what I do, and this is amazing. What you have, if you access Apple Pay by pressing the 2 buttons on the side, it brings up the card that's registered for Apple Pay. It doesn't display the whole number, but it displays the last 4 digits. So the card that I'm using in my Apple Pay ends 8143. Now you can access that with a locked phone without needing to unlock it. You can take a phone, this phone is completely locked, you can double tap it and you can access that Apple Pay and see what the last 4 digits of a person's credit card is without even unlocking it. So what you can do is, if you're going to do something with a phone, so a lot of the time, I do inject and I do wiki test and I do digital force bag, that sort of thing. If you're borrowing a phone, you say, can you lend me your phone, please? That's wonderful. And you bring it back towards you, you double tap the side. I'm now looking at the last 4 digits of their debit card. And now I can press the button again and put it back to a lock screen. Now all I have to do is remember those 4 digits. Now I go into whatever phone routine I was doing. So if I'm doing digital force bag, can you unlock the phone for me? Wonderful, whatever it's going to be. And I'm just remembering those 4 digits the whole time. They then take their phone back. And then I say, well, actually, let's try something else. Do you know your debit number off by heart, the 16-digit number? And a lot of the time, some people will, but mostly they'll say no. And you go, okay, look, I'm going to turn around. I want you to look at your debit card number. I don't want you to remember the whole thing. That's ridiculous. But remember the last 4 digits. And I get them to, I turn around, they look at the last 4 digits. I say, don't let anyone else look. I don't want anyone to think they're in on it. Don't let anyone else look. Look at the last 4 digits, then put the card away. Wonderful. That's amazing. And then I say to them, okay, concentrate on that number, concentrate, send it to me, typical mentalism stuff, typical mind magic. And I go, fantastic, the number is 8143 or whatever it is. They freak out because think about it from the audience's point of view. You've not looked at their credit card. They didn't even know what the number is. They had to look the number up. So if they don't know what the number is, how can you possibly know what the number is? It's impossible, right? But because of the time misdirection, because you got the glimpse from a locked phone 5 minutes before, they never think about this. And even if you did it this subtly, let me look at the phone. Great, put your phone away. This is your debit card. No one thinks that you can get the last 4 digits of their debit card just by looking at their phone. I had something once which was hilarious. I say, have you got a debit card? And he went, oh, I'll share it with my wife. Do you know the 16-digit number? No, I don't. Well, can you ring your wife and get it? He rang his wife and got the 16-digit number. And I said, think of the last 4 digits. And then I told him what the 4 digits were. He had it saved in his phone, but he didn't even know it. He had to ring his wife. This is a massive tip. Try it out. You'll blow people away. So one of my favourite magicians of all time is the late, great Tommy Wonder. I mean, seriously, the guy is a legend. Before I say anything else, if you have not read the books of Wonder, go and buy them and read them. If you haven't watched his 3 DVD set from L&L Publishing, go and download it or go and buy it and watch them. You will learn more about misdirection and performance from watching Tommy Wonder, just watching him perform, than anything else. And one thing I wanted to do on this channel is I wanted to look at other people's routines and other people's effects and kind of analyze them and point out why they are so good. And who better to start with than Tommy Wonder? Now, when you think about Tommy Wonder, there's certain routines that come to mind, and one of the top routines that comes to mind is his 2 cup and ball routine, which literally changed the game when it came to cups and balls. He was the first person to do a bag load. If you haven't seen it, it's absolutely amazing. He starts off with a 2 cup routine. He's using very unique, different sleights you wouldn't normally see, very different to the Di Vernon routine that a lot of people's cups and balls are based on. And he does the bag load, the misdirection bag load. First of all, the pom-pom off the bag goes under the cup, then it goes back under the cup, then the bag goes under the cup. It's a masterclass of misdirection. Now, I'm going to show you Tommy Wonder's routine, and I'm going to do a commentary track over the top. If you haven't seen Tommy Wonder's routine yet, I'm going to put a video link to Tommy Wonder's performance. Go watch his performance. If you've never seen him do the cups and balls before, I guarantee you'll be fooled. I guarantee you'll be fooled. Go watch it. You'll probably want to watch it about 7 times because it's so good. And then what you want to do is you want to watch this, because I'm going to do a commentary track over the top, and I'm going to be talking about what we can learn about misdirection from watching Tommy Wonder perform his excellent cups and balls routine. Right, so the first thing that I need to say is you have to watch everything Tommy Wonder has ever performed, and please do not watch this commentary until you've seen him perform this live, unless you've seen the routine before. Now, the first thing that Tommy does here is he only uses 2 cups. Now, other people have done that before, like David Williamson, but the fact that he's only using 2 cups gives real clarity as to what's happening. You'll notice there's not dozens and dozens of phases. You see a lot of cups and balls routines, and they try to cram in every possible phase imaginable just because that's the easiest thing to do. He doesn't do this. Now, notice the feints. He kind of makes it out like something's happened, and then a second later, boom. And look at the reaction. I know it's an L&L audience, but they are genuinely amazed. Now, notice on the offbeat, that's when things are happening. So on the offbeat of him doing that first magical moment, he's set up ready for the next moment. He brings everyone's attention into where he wants them to look. He conditions them to watch at that point and notice that everything that's happening is happening right there on the offbeat. And then as soon as he's done, he focuses their attention back. Honestly, just watching Tommy Wonder is a lesson in misdirection. Now, up until this moment, the balls have been jumping around and it's been very clever. But then he's going to take this to the next level. So right there at this moment, they're conditioned to seeing the balls jump everywhere. And then they see this pom-pom, which he brought attention to at the beginning, and then he looks back at the bag and realizes the pom-pom has gone, and then goes to screw it back on. It is a genuinely amazing moment. It feels a little bit like Steve Bedwell's Taped Act, where the Walkman's going to go under the hat over and over and over again. So now
He wants to get that back underneath the cup again. So he goes back into focusing the attention of the spectator somewhere else. In this case, on their hand. And you don't see many people doing cups and balls on a spectator's hand, but it works wonderfully. And because the hand's in play, he's got all the misdirection to set up the final loads, which are now done. Now think about the balls that this guy has. He's now in a situation where the bag has gone from the table. The pom-pom has gone for the table, but nobody has noticed. Even though they saw the bag there a second ago, nobody has noticed. And the reason nobody's noticed is because everybody is now focusing on the cups, and then they see the pom-pom. They still haven't realised the bag's gone until this very moment right here. And look at them looking on the floor. Again, I know it's an L&L audience, but they don't think for a second that's under the cup. And when it is, that is one of the strongest moments in the whole of magic. Tommy Wonder is a miracle worker when it comes to misdirection and making sure that every single moment of the routine is milked to the nth degree.
So there you go, that's another 5x5. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I really appreciate your support. I'll be back next week with another 5x5. And tomorrow I'm going to be back with a Talk Magic at 9 o'clock right here on Magic TV. I'll see you again. Thanks very much.